That was one I was happy to sign. Man, I was happy to sign that one.
In it that it likes,
Yep.
it goes in the bag and they can't get out.
Sweet. Feel like just devouring the first few we have.
They're terrible.
Good.
Yeah, awful.
I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of July 22nd, 2013. Will everyone please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take the roll call. Mr. Brado? Here. Mr. Capral?
Here.
Mr. Swakowski?
Here.
Mr. Tominello?
Here.
Mr. York?
Here.
Mr. Witt here. Mr. Verkest is asked to be excused. Due to Mr. Verkest's excused absence, be looking for a motion to appoint an acting chair for the regular board meeting.
Make a motion to make Adam Witt the acting chair for the duration of the meeting.
Support. We have a motion by Mr. York, support by Mr. Brado. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none and seeing no public comment, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. First item is the approval of the consent agenda. We have approval of the regular board meeting minutes of July 8th, 2013, approval of the bills in the amount of $882,440.31, approval of the June 2013 revenue expenditures report, approval of the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments 2013-2014 membership dues in the amount of $2,663, and approval to replace concrete at 4 locations at a cost of $4,700 with Gregory William Wellman Construction.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. York, support by Mr. Swakowski. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the approval of the regular agenda. I didn't hear of any changes or anything like that, so I'd be looking for a motion to approve the regular agenda as presented.
So moved. Support.
A motion by Mr. York, supported by Mr. Tominello, to approve the regular agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First item is announcements. We have several. The Harrison Township Library will be hosting a few events throughout the remainder of July. This Wednesday from 1 to 2:30 p.m., they'll be hosting Tales with Tales. Children can read with Patty, a therapy dog. Pre-registration is required, and all children must be accompanied by an adult. They will also be having Read to Me Roscoe, a magic show on Wednesday, July 24th at 6 p.m. To sign up, you want to call the library at 329-1261, or you can do that in person. It's a free program sponsored by the Macomb County Literacy Partners. They will also be hosting Suitcase for Survival, which will be held Thursday, July 25th, 2013, from 11 a.m. to noon. Suitcase for Survival is an environmental education program designed to raise awareness about wildlife, trade, and biodiversity. And again, you can call the library or sign up. All children, again, must be accompanied by an adult. This Saturday, July 27th at 11 a.m., they will be hosting a sign dedication for the library. An Eagle Scout completed it as his project to install a new sign which matches the current sign that we have around the rest of the community. Again, it's 11 a.m. Everyone's welcome to attend. From the clerk's office, I'd just like to inform residents that we are going to be bringing back Metro Park passes. We've had a lot of people ask for them, so I was able to work with Mr. Knuth over at the park to allow us to take the passes, and then we will only pay for what we sell, because before we had to stop because we didn't want to get stuck with them. So they will be available probably tomorrow at the treasurer's office. Also, just a reminder that there is an election on August 6th. The Saturday prior to that, August 3rd, the clerk's office will be open from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To process absent voter applications. So if you, at that point, still haven't had the time to come by and didn't know you needed one, we will be there. Any other announcements?
I do have one announcement from the Parks and Rec. We, again, are having our annual movie night. It's a Park It Fun Night, and it's free music free movie, and it's at Waterfront Park. Start time is 6:30. So pay attention to the website for any details. We'll have it posted on the website.
What day is that?
It's August 27th, and it's a Tuesday night.
Do you have someone from the Historical Commission? Come on up.
Linda Karczewski from Harrison Township Historic Commission. Just to remind everybody, we're open on the third Wednesday of every month from 6 o'clock to 9. And if anybody wants a special tour before that, they can just call me or contact the clerk's office and they'll get the message to me. Also, a gentleman by the name, I'm hoping I don't do bad by his name, first name of Bob, last name of Prevost, Prevost. I hope I said it right. The gentleman and his wife, he gave us a collection of knives bayonets. And there's one from England, France, Germany, and we also got a from Japan, where a soldier, they used it for, they kept it at their waist, and they call, I know I'm not going to say it right, if they felt they were being dishonored, they would themselves, I know, there's a word for it, and I know I'm gonna say it wrong, so I won't even say it. But it's a very nice collection. We also got from him, from his family, they had the ringers from the first ringers that they had were supposed to make life easier for the women for washing. And you put the clothes through the ringer and you use your hand to dry them. And he gave us two of them, and one was from 1886, I believe. So it was a nice addition to our collection. So we're hoping everybody comes out and visit us. And if anybody has any questions, they can call me at 586-463-1754. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other announcements, we'll move on to item B, which is a resolution honoring Mr. Jared Maynard, former deputy treasurer. Mr. York, would you like to read that resolution?
I would be more than happy to, Mr. Witt. Whereas Jared Maynard has given distinguished service, dedication, and devotion to Harrison Township, and whereas Jared Maynard, during his 6-year career with Harrison Township, served as deputy treasurer, and whereas Jared Maynard has provided exceptional dedicated service to Harrison Township board members, employees, retirees, and residents, and whereas Jared Maynard always sought to advance his skills for betterment of Harrison Township, becoming a Michigan certified professional treasurer, expanding his knowledge in the field of municipal government, and whereas Jared Maynard has shown himself to be an excellent representative of the local community through his commitment to the citizens and dedication of his free time to the enhancement of Charter Township of Harrison, and now therefore be resolved on behalf of the residents of Harrison Township, the Board of Trustees wishes to thank Jared Maynard for his service to the community and wish him long life and happiness.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. York, supported by Mr. Capral, to adopt the resolution honoring Jared Maynard as presented. Any public comment?
Bill Serville, resident. I had the pleasure to interact with Jared Maynard the entire time he was here in my various capacities that I serve on, and I found him to be helpful and knowledgeable, and I wish him well in his new endeavor.
Thank you.
And he is not here tonight because their board meeting is the same night as ours.
Seeing no more public comment and hearing no more board comment, take a roll call vote. Mr. York?
Yes.
Mr. Capral?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Swikowski?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Witt? Yes. Mr. Verkest is excused. The resolution is adopted. Item C1 is an ordinance to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the Charter Township of Harrison through regulation of fireworks as provided in PA 256 of 2011 and as amended by PA 65 of 2013, adding Article 1, Section 3811 of Chapter 38 of the Code of Ordinances. Basically, the state legislature, after some feedback, changed the law to allow local municipalities to restrict the hours on the national holidays when the township could allow them. This ordinance would allow us to prohibit the use of consumer fireworks from midnight to 8 a.m. on the day before, day of, or after a national holiday, or between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m. on New Year's Day. So the township attorney prepared this for us, so at this time I'd be looking for a motion to introduce this ordinance.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Swakowski, seconded by Mr. York, to introduce an ordinance to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the Charter Township of Harrison through the regulation of fireworks as provided in PA 256 of 2011, as amended by PA 65 of 2013, adding Article 1, Section 3811 of Chapter 38 of the Code of Ordinance, providing for repealer, severability, penalties, and effective date, and to publish a notice of introduction at the Charter Township of Harrison, and that the full text may be reviewed in the clerk's office during business hours, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. Seeing no public comment, take a roll call. Mr. Swakowski?
Yes.
Mr. York?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Capral?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest is excused. The next item is the adoption of ordinance 379. That was the item that we spoke to last week, or last meeting, that introduced the amendments to the Code of Federal Regulation regarding the discharge of wastewater into wastewater collection and treatment systems, which are binding upon the Township of Harrison, and amending Chapter 90, Article 6 by amending sections 90-281 through 90-285.
Make that motion.
A motion by Mr. York.
Support.
Is that Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Seeing no public comment, is there any board comment? Hearing no board comment, take a roll call. Mr. York,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Brado,
Yes.
Mr. Swakowski.
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest is excused. The ordinance is adopted. Next item is a recommended approval to transfer ownership of a 2013 Class C and SDM license located at 39504 Jefferson from Lazarus Enterprises Incorporated to Premax LLC. I believe the requester is here tonight.
I am. I'm Keith Burcheski, the purchaser.
Yep. If there's anything you want to say, I would.
Nope.
Okay. All inspections are in compliance for the building. This is currently Pier 3. The Planning Commission met on this last week and is recommending approval based on it staying at the same use. And all the other paperwork is in order for the transfer.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to recommend approval to transfer ownership to 2013 Resort Class C and SDM licenses from Lazarus Enterprises Incorporated to Premax LLC located at 39504 Jefferson, Harrison Township, Michigan.
Support. Oh, go ahead, Jack. Oh, go ahead.
So we have a motion by Mr. Tominello, supported by Mr. Swakowski. Would you like to add anything to it, or no? Okay. Seeing no other public comment, is there any board comment?
Are you purchasing Pier 3?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. Okay.
All right, hearing no further board comment, all those in favor of approving to transfer the ownership of the 2013 Resort Class C and SDM license, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You're welcome. Item D1 is to concur with the hiring of Linda Gurick for the Department Secretary position in the Building Department. At the July 8th regular board meeting, this board authorized the supervisor, clerk, and treasurer to hire the Department Secretary position in the Building Department with the name to be brought back. After going through the interviews, checking references, the name that we are bringing forward today is Ms. Linda Gurick. It is subject to a 90-day probationary period as well as a physical and drug test.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. York to approve the hiring,
Support.
supported by Mr. Tominello. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, is there any further board comment? Hearing no further board comment, I have a motion to concur with the hiring of Ms. Linda Gurick to fill the Department Secretary position in the Building Department. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And the floor is now open for public comment.
Bill Servil, builder member of the Housing Board of Appeals. I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention that we have at least 3 cases that have been through the process. There's been orders of demolition, there's been no appeal, but the structures are still standing because the money hasn't been allocated. I don't know how, if you guys are aware of how we operate. We've saved the township tons of money. It typically probably costs $300 or $400 for us to process a case. Mr. Huth did one a few years ago that I think the bill was $5,300. You go through the courts, it's much more time consuming. But, you know, 2 of these are, one of them's a house that's only like 500 square feet. One of them's a garage. The other one's about a 1,000-foot house. That one is extremely dangerous. VJ tells me that there was some money available through the county, but you have to jump through so many hoops that Adam doesn't know if it's worthwhile or not. But I just wanted to make everybody aware of the fact that these are being held up because of funds. And, you know, I think myself, we're sliding down a slippery slope here. The township, the total township is, the ordinances and everything, we need to get rid of these structures once they've been through the process. Okay, now, Bill Servil, CBA member. We have 2 different businesses here that have changeable signage, which was permitted underneath our regulatory sign ordinance. And one of them, I understand, has been in non-compliance for well over a year. And because of that, we have one at McDonald's now that's flashing every 7 seconds when it's supposed to flash once an hour. I don't know what's going on. I'm not accusing anyone, but I think we need to enforce our ordinances. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that also. Thank you.
Linda Karczewski. I blew it. I get nervous when I get up here, and I am so sorry to the gentleman that I said his name. He was not the gentleman that donated the items. He is the gentleman that wrote this book called The Malice, and it's about a family here in Harrison Township. It is in a library. If you guys can read it, go ahead. He donated this to the Historic Commission, and I just wanted everybody to see it and to apologize for him for the wrong one. I told you I get very nervous up here. And the couple that did donate the items are Joe and Ralph Warhurst, W-A-R-H-U-R-S-T. They're the couple that donate all the items. But if you get to read a book, you need to read this. This is really wonderful. It gives you a lot of history on Michigan, especially Harrison Township, about the farmland, how it was farmed, and how big the farms were out there. And his farm, what I could gather, was around Metro Beach. Was part of it was the marsh, and it was just, it's a wonderful book. Once I started reading it, I couldn't put it down because I love history, and I just want everybody to know about it. And again, I apologize to him for the name. I told you I get very nervous when I get up here. Thank you.
I tried to come to the last meeting, but I had power outage at 6:30, so it wiped me out. But about a month ago, your zoning enforcer passed this notice on my front door stating that somebody bitched about me having a shed in the backyard that was needed repair, and he gave me 30 days to get rid of it. So I went to see him, and it's 92 degrees outside. I mean, Jesus Pete, it's raining every damn day, and he gives me 30 days. And when are you gonna do this? The damn shed's been there since the house was built, and I got 30 days to tear it down. There's no sense putting a roof on it because it has no foundation under it. I've never used it. I shoved stuff in there to because I was a home gardener, and but I could never use it because the house, when I bought it in September, I didn't realize the yard was full of trees. Trees grow like weeds with the high water table in the ground. And so it took me a while to get the trees removed because I had no sunshine. And and I have all the trees gone now. And so last year, I had the guys take the rest of the trees out. And this bunch of tree trimmers or tree removal people flooded my yard with equipment and left holes in the ground and you know, just busted my barbecue and tri-county tree removal, guaranteed. So when I asked them about what the hell's happening here, they hung up on me. So anyway, but my complaint here is that here you got a guy that's sitting in an air-conditioned office, and I'm 93 years old, and I've got to go out there within 30 days in rain, and now the mosquitoes are filled up the yard because my yard, in the last few years, I never had water in my backyard. But certain things occurred in the neighborhood, and now I can't plant anything in the yard. I like tomatoes, so I thought this year I'll put some pots on my back porch, and I have a photograph showing the pots on the back porch because I can't put it in the ground anymore because the ground, when it floods, when you get a heavy rain, tomato plants don't grow in water. So maybe hydroponically they do, but I don't have that situation here. So, but anyway, what my bitch is that here you got a guy that's sitting in an air-conditioned office, and he won't tell me who the complaint was. I only know two neighbors one on either side of me. This is a neighborhood that nobody socializes. And this shed is not visible by anybody, but if you come in my backyard, you can see it. And I have a picture showing the shed. So, but this is irritating to me because I get a bill for $2,000 to pay my damn taxes. I get this notice pasted on a board, and nobody will tell me who the hell complained about it. I don't know any of the neighbors. And my lot is about 23,000 square feet. This shed is about 100 square feet. There's no relationship, and it's covered up with trees. But I intend to take it down because I've got a bunch of rows of Sharon grown in my yard that I'm going to put around the perimeter because I cleared out all the other stupid trees and the mess and everything else. And he's given me, in this type of weather, 30 days and no leeway. I mean, what the hell kind of a jackass is that? I've been paying taxes here for 25 years, and I get some idiot that he turned me in because he saw some activity around my house, and how else? I don't have any, why wouldn't my neighbor on either side of me turn me in for a shed? They both had sheds in their yard. I didn't turn them in, but they tore them down, and one replaced his, but the other guy didn't. He tore him down. And, but I never used this stupid thing, and now I got to empty it out because it's got a lot of gardening stuff in it, and I got to get rid of that first. And I'm trying to fix. 2 weeks ago was the only time I've been able to cut the grass totally cut the grass in my backyard. I never saw so much water in my yard since I've been living there. And like I said, up until a couple of years ago, I had next to no water in my backyard.
Thank you, sir. We have a 5-minute time limit.
What's that?
We have a 5-limit
well,
time.
Anyway, I want to know what the hell
Sir, can I just ask
people
a
can do
question?
for me, eh?
When is the 30, how much time do you need?
What's that?
How much time
Well, I
do you
like
need?
to wait till the
I'm
weather
sure that we're
cools, eh?
reasonable here.
Hey,
You know, if you
hey,
need
I
it-
don't know what the
I'd say
hell the
give 'em
weather
the-
is.
You know what,
I'm no
sir,
forecaster.
sir, if you'd like to give me,
Public comment.
if you'd like to give me your name, and if you want to
Sure, I'll
catch me
give you
after
my
the,
name.
and you want to catch me after the meeting, I'll
What?
get your number and we'll call you tomorrow and we'll look into it, okay?
What do you want?
If you want to give me your name, and then after, if you stick around till the end of the meeting, I'll get your phone number, we'll make sure somebody follows up with you
I
tomorrow.
can't really give you a due date because.
Nope, that's fine, we'll talk
Okay.
about it
That's
tomorrow.
fine.
I don't
I'll give
even
you a
know if
call,
I'll
it'll be a
be
little
here
easier.
next week. I mean, you know, when you
Then
get
you don't have to worry
93
about the
years old,
shed.
what the hell do you do, you know?
Yes, can I just have your name, sir?
So anyway, this guy should be fired. And then the other person that
Thank
I'm bitching about is my road sunk in front of my house.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that comes in, puts a little bit of
Sure.
asphalt down, he finally filled up one hole.
Yeah. Sir, again,
And
we have
there's
the,
3 or 4 other ones there. I have to wear boots to go get my mail because the road actually sunk because the guy on the other side of the road built up the shoulder. So I have a
well,
lake in front of my house, but nobody gives a shit about that.
no, if you want to stick around till the end of the meeting, I'll get your phone number and somebody will be in contact with you tomorrow, okay?
Okay, you want it now or do you want?
Well, we don't want to be in a meeting, I'll get you after the meeting, all right? Thank you, sir. That was awesome.
Richard Rapp. I wanted to speak on your tax issue. When I saw that there was 2 big increases coming up in a special election, I was discouraged and irritated, but I resolved myself to saying, you know what, this is a special election, and it's just gonna pass, and there's nothing we can do about it, and just sit back and take it. Then I watched your last meeting. First of all, I find that unethical to do those large of a tax increase during a special election. Unethical, point blank. But, you know, I said, okay, it's just gonna happen, and this is the way it's gonna go. But then I watched the last meeting, and I watched a couple people speak against the tax increase. Not against libraries, but against a hefty tax increase. And the person from the library got up and admonished them directly, and the chair allowed this kind of behavior. And I said to myself, okay, you know what, it's time to just get up and say something, because that was unreasonable. It went from being unethical down to just downright arrogant, that we have to pay more taxes for an entity that we already get. Now we have to pay for it. And I said to myself, the reason I'm voting against this library is because there's no plan. You want $4 million. And think about that tax 10 years from now when it comes through. That's 2 to 3% per annum compounded. We're talking like 26, 28% higher taxes in 10 years on our property if things go well. And so I said, you've got no plan. You want to come here and you want to say, give us all this money. No plan. We can do this, this, and this, but we don't have to tell you what we're going to do with it. And I think the real irritating thing was that speaker said, our volunteers are tired. And I understand that and respect that. But that told me where the money was going, where the critics have said it's going. It's going to salaries, to pay people to do what we already get. That, you know what, that's where I draw the line. When you want to be a volunteer and you come in and then you say later on, now I want my own little fiefdom at $500,000 a year. So I'm voting no on it, and I'm disappointed at the board for allowing that kind of behavior to go on. Whether or not, the personalities in this issue should be set aside. It's what are the numbers? We got this for 0, now we're gonna pay probably more like $5.5 million over 10 years when you add it all up. So, I'm gonna vote no. I'm gonna stand up and vote no. It's a foregone conclusion. It's gonna be a yes unless the vocal majority gets up and says, I'm not gonna sit back at home and let this tax increase go quietly. So, again, I wish that you guys would take a look at what you allowed to happen and say, okay, that wasn't reasonable, that wasn't fair, and apologize to those people for what you guys allowed, quite frankly. I'm voting no. Again, you could take the money that comes from that millage, add it all up, and basically divide it by the number of children aged 5 through 18, buy them all a notebook, and a subscription to Amazon. And then the second year, furnish a hard copy library in their own homes. It's a lot of money that is going to go majority to salaries. And that's not going to happen. That's not right. Thank you.
Jim Sunstock, 31698 San Juan. I'd also like to talk about the library millage, and I want to start out with the personal attack that was made on me by Marge Fikowski at the last meeting. I've been a library supporter since 2009 when it was first proposed, and all my public statements support this. The only caveat is that it be free and at no cost to the public. Contrary to Mrs. Swikowski's assertions, I have visited the library 6 to 8 times, including on 7/15 of this year, and the only time I've seen Mrs. Swikowski was when she had an open house with lunch. So much for her volunteer efforts. She also attacked every man in the township, saying because we had disagreed with her library millage, we were anti-education. How arrogant. Let's look at what's involved in this proposal. It's 0.5 mils for 10 years. It's approximately $4.5 million over 10 years. There is no budget been put forward on how that money is going to be spent. There's no control by the township board if that money is allocated. An unelected library board consisting of current volunteers board, including Mrs. Swikowski, would be in charge of hire, fire, set any salary they want for any number of volunteers, a librarian, assistant librarian, and a director. And that's probably going to be March. It is supported by a ballot question committee that's located in Shelby Township. Who's benefiting from that? And why would Shelby Township have any concern about what's going on in Harrison Township? The signatures were collected on the basis of a 140-year-old law. How ridiculous. 140 years ago. Yeah, the only thing available was a book. Now we got internet, we got computers, we got everything, televisions, all that stuff. I have a question for every taxpayer in Harrison Township. Do you want to trust Marge to spend over $413,000 a year, however she wants, after she stood in front of us and this board in 2009 and swore up and down that the library would be no cost to the township into the future? What a farce. Just say no to the library millage on August 6th. Make sure you're going to get out and vote, because they're counting, and they being the library committee, are counting on you not to. And now I'd like to move on basically to the fire department millage. As I spoke at the last meeting, I called it the wage enhancement millage. That's what it is. Wage enhancement. Their own firefighter union chief admitted that it's there to keep the status quo. Status quo. Well, let's talk about that. I talked about it last time, but I want to reiterate it for everybody so you remember. There's 27 firefighters. Only 3 live in the township. The rest live in areas with less taxes and volunteer firefighters. 13 are sergeants or higher, and 14 are Indians or firefighters. The average salary for our firefighters is over $80,000. 8 days off a month, plus 3 sick days. We pay for 9 firefighters at the township fire halls, and really only have 6 because of all the days off. The retiree pay average is approximately $70,000. That is with 20 years of service, which makes a firefighter about 44 years old when he leaves and goes out and gets another job, usually another firefighting job. Township firefighters used a 2.8 multiplier, as opposed to the teachers who have been criticized many times for their salaries. They use a 1.2 multiplier with 30 years of service, not 20. These firefighters are going to have full health care for life. That's the status quo they want you to vote on. They retire at 44. That's a long time for us to be paying health care. Please vote no on the firefighter millage. Just say no. Thank you. August 6th.
Good evening, Board. I have an immense amount of concerns. In 2004, we were 107% funded for our liabilities. In 2011, we're 65.7% funded for our liabilities. This includes the retirement and the health care and things of this nature. If we keep this steep decline in funding these opportunities, we also will end up like it is in Wayne County, wrestling for our lives to survive, all right? We have an immense cost in our fire department, much more than we realize, all right? There's ways of cutting costs. You could go to 8-hour-a-day shifts, 3 shifts. You wouldn't have to buy them food, groceries. They wouldn't be sleeping there, all right? You could put the calls into the sheriff like we do for our police department. That would eliminate the night man. It's on there to answer the telephone. That'd eliminate 3 positions right away, all right? We need to do something to slow down the horses here, because these mandates in this community, I don't know if you had a budget workshop or not, but evidently nobody showed up for these kind of numbers that are on the internet from your auditor are unacceptable. Everybody's asleep here. You need to watch what's going on, because it takes a whole hell of a lot of time to go from 67 back up to 107. It takes a lot of taxpayer sweat, like the older gentleman was talking about his shed. The opportunities to raise these kind of funds to support this kind of a fire department are not here. Not this year or next year, because the entire economy is slowing down. You had a prime example of it today when a gentleman come up here and said that he bought the Pier Restaurant and you changed the liquor license. That was one of the most successful restaurants in the community. And now it's gone, it's changed hands at a much lesser value, I can guarantee it, all right? The cost of doing business is more expensive than the cost of doing government, because government is so fat and so lazy, and it won't get off their behind, and they don't see the trees before they run into them. And that needs to be done. You need to look at this. A prime example of that is this will always be a part-time library. And I know you gals are all in there, and I appreciate your endeavors. But we can't afford $5 million to invest in a library. This township doesn't have the money. The gentleman also spoke about his paved street. Now, if he's lucky enough to have a paved street, he paid for it through his taxes and an assessment. But you go into St. Clair Shores and they saw out the bad spot and replace it. In Harrison Township, every 3 years, they come by and throw a cup of cold pack into it. We have little or no maintenance. He also said his yard flooded. How about digging out the drains instead of take that assessment and put these drains so the water flows through over, fix the pumping stations. These assets need to be preserved. We have a great fire department. I'm not denying that fact. But they ought to be great for that kind of money, because you could privatize it and save 50%. I'm not recommending that, but I'm recommending that we hold back the horses and we get this fund balance back up to where it should be, so that this community is not strangled in another 5 years when you guys aren't here. And that's very important. And that's also, Mr. Spencer, your responsibility, and I hope that you read these documents. This brings scary to me. You know, I worked in here, and I know what this is about, all right? I did my best. I went over at the fire department on the roof on Christmas Eve and patched a leak, all right? Nobody else did, I did. I fixed the roof on this place, fixed the roof on the library. I did a lot of things in here that nobody else had the ability to do. I'm a businessman. I've been self-employed my entire life, 73 years. I have never seen the debacle, the loss of money, the loss of funds in such a short amount of time. You need to hold back the horses. When the fire department comes up here and asks for more money, a new ambulance, we bought the Cadillac of ambulances. Last time we bought a new fire truck, 2 hours after we bought it, I went to Kroger's to get my wife some baking powder and $1.5 million fire truck out in front with the motor running. They use it for a shopping buggy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Linda Karczewski, resident. First of all, I disagree with the person that came up and said Marge doesn't do anything. I'm sorry. I was there when Marge, right from the beginning, worked with that library. And we might not see her at the desk, but she is working. Okay? And second of all, someone just made a remark about the fire trucks being at Kroger's on a shopping run. I'm going to tell you something. We are the only township that makes fun of that fire department that comes there to do their shopping when they have to work. They have to pay for their own food, too. They don't pay for their food?
No, ma'am.
Oh, you pay for the food?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Well, you do as a resident.
Okay. St. Clair Shores, Mount Clemens, Clinton Township, every one of those fire departments, you will see them at Myers, Kroger's. You don't know if they're on a shopping run or they're on business there. So before someone puts down somebody else, make sure they know the facts. That includes Marge and the fire department.
Thank you.
Hi, Carol Wolf, 37837 Lakeville. On the library, the reason we're asking for the millage is because our circulation is improving. We have more programs. We have a lot more interest. We're only open 22 hours a week, which even doing that on a volunteer basis is rather difficult. We're asking for the millage so we can be open 40 hours a week. I think when, I'm glad I hear that the residents, appreciate the volunteers, but at some point, you need some structure, some organization, you need full-time employees to man something with the demand that's increasing. And I don't think it's fair that, people, how many of the people that came up here will work for nothing? And I think it's the same mentality when you get to the library, that to staff a volunteer library for 40 hours a week is not reasonable. You need one person to lead it for the structure. To say there's, in going back to that we don't have a plan, what happens is once the millage passes, the trustees would appoint a board, and the board would develop the budget. When we asked for the millage, we did look at Library of Michigan statistics, which are libraries throughout the entire state of Michigan, and all that data. So we have an idea of what we can do with what the appointed board can do with the money. As far as a Shelby Township address, we're very blessed to have volunteers that come from outside of Harrison Township and volunteer at our library. With that one person's address, he's very knowledgeable in our software system, and we appreciate him, and he elected to be the treasurer for our campaign. So a very dedicated individual and someone that we need. And also, I have to say for Marge, she does volunteer. She volunteers on Mondays. So if you'd like to come in and check that out, she will be there. And I think that's it. I hope that the community sees a need for the library and that they do vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no more public comment, we'll close the floor to public comment and move to board comment. Just one thing, the township recently had a lawsuit brought against it, and I was wondering, since we had a special meeting where the board talked about it, I was wondering, Mr. Huth, if you could provide an update to the board.
Yes, there was a lawsuit that was filed on behalf of two residents in Harrison Township, naming 3 board members in the township board as a whole. Essentially, the lawsuit was seeking to stop the election from moving forward next month. In the response to that lawsuit, we said 2 things. First, we said, you waited too long to bring this lawsuit, you shouldn't be able to go forward. And then next we said, Judge, if you don't buy that, and you don't agree with us on that, even if the lawsuit was able to go forward, there's no basis for it because everything was complied with here in the township. by our clerk, then the law does not require board action. Judge Switowski said that he agreed. The lawsuit was not timely filed, so he would not allow it to go forward for that reason. And then he went on to say, even if he is mistaken about that and the lawsuit were allowed to go forward, it's not proper anyway because the township acted appropriately by setting this millage election. So I thank Adam and Pete from your office for the help they gave us regarding this matter, and case is dismissed, all done.
Thank you, Mr. Huth. Is there any other board comment?
So to be clear, the judge found in favor of the township.
Yes, I rambled on without being clear, you're right. The township,
Thank you.
Hearing no further board comment, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. York,
Support.
supported by Mr. Tominello. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.